Yo, what's up, guys? Hey, this is the first episode of Purpose Chasing Podcast. I have my brother here, Landin, with me.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Landin, man, this is going to be an exciting journey for us. I'm excited to see what comes out of this. Landin and I have been taking the time to see what are some needs around our area that we want to pursue. One of the things that we feel like, hey, we could use change in this area. So we started this podcast, Purpose Chasing Podcast, to really explore some of the ideas, some of the problems we see around here, and see how we can offer a solution or offer help in these areas. But before we go any further, I mean, we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves, but I'm going to let Landin start this off. Landin, just tell us about you, who you are, what you do, where you're from, and what's your mission right now, man?
Yes, sir.
So go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, like he said, Arnold said, I'm Landin Brown. I'm a resident director here at East Texas Baptist University. I'm here on assignment and calling to impact students in different ways. But I think I'm from Houston, Texas, born and raised, and played basketball for ETBU
Hooper.
for 4 or 5 years. And God has really transformed my life, like since I got here, and gave me a leadership position to be able to share the gospel, and to get to know Him more. And the biggest thing, I have a platform here at ETBU, but that's not for me, but it's to glorify Christ.
There you go.
And however He wants me to.
Yeah.
So I think for me, my impact in this season right now, is to pour into the lives of college students, to see what they're going through. You know, it's a hard time to find themselves, but to pour in them, to know that they're loved, they're seen and chosen by the Most High, and to know that that they have a calling and a purpose on this world, on assignment, to go do what God has already called them to do and fulfill that purpose. So I'm excited, though.
Yeah. So Landin is very driven towards helping people and also trying to elevate them a little bit more. That's all we talk about here. Is we're talking about ways that we can do things better, and which is why we have decided to create this podcast, is because I think there's areas that we want to talk to people about that we've struggled in or we're currently having to go through, and we want to just teach people how to live a healthy life and a purposeful life, you know. But for those of you who don't know me, before I I'm already getting ahead of myself.
Get into it, man. Get into it.
I am ready to get it going already, but so my name is Arnold Escobedo. I am a resident manager. I'm part-time here at ETBU. I'm from Center, Texas, which is only an hour from here. And really, I like to do lots of different things on my spare time, free time. My main thing right now is video and photography. I like to do that a whole lot. I'm trying to grow that as a big full-time deal for me. And also, I just like the fact that I get the freedom to create whatever I want, you know?
Yeah.
And I like to create stuff that's healthy. So I'm also thankful that I get the opportunity to do that. And so with that, that expertise and being able to, know all about cameras and stuff, I'm able to do stuff like this, And so Landin was like, hey, I have an idea. Everybody's doing podcasts. Yeah, everybody's doing podcasts. And, a lot of people seem to give a lot into this idea of podcasts and also giving a message behind the podcast. Landin's like, I'd like to do that one day.
Yeah.
And he's talking about like, oh, I'm going to, somebody invited me to be on a podcast at this certain time and day. He's like, and then I asked him how to go. He's like, man, that was good stuff. And then we're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to make our own podcast, and we're gonna lead it, and we're gonna invite people on here so that they can talk about different things depending on what topic it is. But we're gonna start with what is purpose chasing. You say that all the time, Landin. You're always like, man, I gotta be purpose chasing. Everything I do is purpose chasing. I can't just be here just to be here. It's gotta be purpose chasing. What does that mean, man? What does that mean to you, and why is it so big?
Yeah, so purpose chasing wasn't a saying until we met each other this year at ETBU for our job. So what I wanted to do was when we chase it, we want to be able to chase purpose in everything that we do. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go through routines and just kind of like, oh, this is already how it's supposed to be, when that's not how God intended it to be. Mm-hmm. He intended it to do something bigger, to do something better. Like, we have a supernatural God that wants the best for us, and he's like, I'm like, you on purpose and to chase his purpose. But to chase his purpose, he means to glorify him in his way.
Yeah.
And I feel like God has called us for a unique purpose, to make him known, and to spread the gospel. But he wants to use your gifts and your talents and your calling to fulfill that mission and to purpose. So one of my gifts and purpose is to love and care for students and encourage them. And he's giving me this platform right now here, right with ETBU, going into the student center to be able to hey, talk to students in their relationships, but do it in an impactful way. And I want them to see the bigger picture of what God has for them. We're not doing this routine. No, we have a supernatural God that wants us, that cares for us, and wants to do some big things through us. And so while we living in this this mindset, we're just like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be, when that's not how it's intended. He's like, no, I gave you purpose. Now let's go.
Yeah. We're so driven right now to, you and I talk about it. We don't want to live that mediocre life where it's just like, hey, we're just going through the motions. It's just like, no, you have a bigger plan than that. And that's how God intended it to be, is that you weren't just created to just work, to just hang out with friends, but you were created for a bigger mission than that. That's fulfilling, And so whenever we think about purpose chasing the podcast, is that, listen, people have a purpose. And, right now you might not know what it is, but let's teach you about it, And so what I like is that Landin will, consistently make it a priority to go out into over here at ETBU. We have what's called the Student Center. All the students are there. And so what he'll do is he'll go interact with those students. And that small interaction with them makes the biggest of difference, because that opens the avenue for you to talk to them, build a relationship. It's easier to lead somebody when you have a relationship. It's harder to lead somebody when you don't have a foundation set with them, like they're just an acquaintance or something like that. It's just much harder for somebody to be able to receive what you're trying to tell them without feeling judged or anything like that. So that's the biggest thing too, that what we're doing is, because you've dragged me along too, I like doing that, is we'll call it rounds. We'll go around hey, let's go do a round. We'll go around different places here on campus, and we'll just go talk to people, meet new people. Landin will introduce me to new people, or I'll introduce him to new people. And through that, we now are building relationships with those people, but also they know now that we are intentional about what we do. And that's what I think that as Christians, we need to be, intentional about people, not to just point fingers like, hey, you're doing this wrong. Because at that point, it becomes judgment, not accountability. You know what I'm saying? So reason I wanted to start this podcast was because it's a platform to multiply. It's not just something that somebody could listen and that's it. No, I want to multiply leaders. I want to multiply people to be able to go and lead people well, and then possibly lead them to Jesus. I'm not about that stuff that's just like, okay, we're just hanging out. I'm gonna let you know that you're meaningful to me while we hang out, and that you mean so much to me that if you want to grow, we're gonna grow together. We're going through this entire season together. And so this is just a platform to multiply followers and then send out leaders. Because you don't want to just keep followers. You want to send out leaders. Because if you're just keeping people, they're not gonna go out and multiply. And so I think that's why we're here, and what we're trying to do. So what is your vision with this podcast? What are you looking to, since you're helping me out with this, and whenever we first thought about this, what do you think about the idea of just starting the podcast, Purpose Chasing? Yeah.
But like you said, we're called to equip people in leadership. And how you always say, we're all leaders. And to be able to do what God has called us to do. I think the biggest thing that I want to accomplish is to let everyone know they have a purpose and that they're on assignment on each day. Because there's just so many people that think each day is just okay, I'm just doing this each day. This is what God has me right here, and I'm just gonna just do it, finish it off, and go somewhere else, finish it off. When in this moment right now, you have a purpose and you're on assignment. So each day when I wake up, I'm like, okay, I'm on assignment, I'm on purpose. I'm breathing, I'm alive. So that means, God, that you got something big for me right now. So I have an expectation too, and I expect God to do something and prepare my heart for it. And I want people to prepare for what God is about to do. And if we can't just think God's going to do something if we're not prepared for it. So each day I wake up, I want to get into his word. I want to meditate on his word, and I want him to do something that I never seen before. And I want people to come to know who the Father is and how much he loves them and he cares for them, and to have a relationship with them. So my biggest thing for the podcast, I guess my whole purpose is for people to know who Christ is and to pursue that calling that he's already put in your heart, those gifts and talents and those things, and pursue that fully. And you will see a difference and change the world. Like some people think, oh, I can't do it. No, he uses that. He's like, no, I'm going to use you. I'm going to use you. You may have done a whole bunch of mistakes, sins, all these things that God is a restoring God. He redeems. And he's like, I'm going to take the thing that was broken and turn it to beauty, So I'm just in love with that, and I want people to experience that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk. Let's backpedal a little bit. So we know that we started somewhere. We didn't start out as like the people who we are now, as far as like being able to lead people effectively. It's taken work. But before then, what were some of the steps that you had to take in order for you to get where you are now, as far as like your level of leadership, your commitment to the lifestyle, the commitment to Jesus, and also to just being a follower of Jesus? Can you give us some steps of how that progressed over the years to who you are now?
Yeah. So I think even coming to ETBU, if you would have asked me like, would I be the person I am today? I'd probably be like, no, that is crazy.
Probably not. Yeah.
No, that is not me. I've done some sins. I've done some mistakes. I'm not who I am. Like
pretty much, I screwed up.
Screwed up before. But I think that's what God, like how he like intended. Like, so I think it all started with me developing a relationship with Christ. Spending like 5 minutes, 10 minutes in His Word and just praying and like, let me get to know who you personally, and not just like we know of God, but like to know Him personally. Yeah. So like, you created me, you have a purpose for me, but like how are you going to do that? And I won't know how He's going to do that by not spending time with Him. I have to spend that intentional time with Him, sure. Your Creator. Yeah. So for you to know what you're called to do, you have to spend time with Him.
Oh yeah.
And like, so He's like, yeah, spend time with me, and then I'm going to take you. I'm going to show you what you need to do. I'm going to show you the calling. I'm going to show you the people that you need to meet. I'm going to show you who you need to speak to and pour into and love on. So it starts with me developing relationships, and you don't see it's a heart transformation first, getting to know who God is, and then over time God levels you up with leadership positions. Like maybe it may start as, for me, when I came to ETBU, I was on the basketball team, so I started basketball. Yeah. But also I worked at the HealthPlex. That little, you might think the things that you do, like, oh, this is a waste, but God does not waste anything. So those little small things, I'm like, oh, I get to be I work at the HealthPlex where people work out and meet people, and I have responsibility. So it may start off like that, the small things. Then it may be like, oh, you might be a missions counselor, or like one of those student worker missions counselor. That's another role, a leadership. Or it might be having you lead the game room, something that is small that God has instilled you to be. Because He's like, I want you to be faithful in the small things before I beat you in the big things. Yeah. So it started from me being in the HealthPlex, working in the HealthPlex, then even speaking in different places, FCA, leadership team, then even for me working at security, for me working academic success. Yeah. But it started in those small things, like working at the HealthPlex, or working at those small jobs that you do not see and you think it's a waste. Yeah. So I would say everybody to steward what you have in front of you first, and then let God do the rest.
Yeah, just remember, nothing goes wasted.
Nothing goes wasted.
When you're following God's plan and you're following what He's doing, some of it might seem like a waste, but there's a reason for the season. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why you're there during that given time. But I kind of agree with what you said, spending intentional time with God. I think that's a big deal as far as like learning who God is and learning what He's capable of. One of the things I learned from one of my friends, his name is Danny. He has told me, he has told this to several people and to some of the youth kids at our church. He's like, you can't worship what you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In order for you to worship something, whether it's good or bad, you're going to take your time to know what that thing is, to know if it's worthy of your worship. For me personally, God is worthy of my worship. But it took me having to learn and know who is God. Yeah. I'm not just like, worshiping whatever, I'm not just going to do that to anything, only if I know what that thing is. And if I knew that once I got a grasp of who God was, then I was able to worship him, but only through intentional time with him,
exactly.
you know? And from that point, once I started to know who God is, and it's like, okay, well, God sent his son Jesus, and then I started to learn about Jesus and all these different things, and it's just like, okay, so there's a bigger reason towards why I should, it's not just like a, hey, son, you should give your life to Jesus, but it's more so, it's like, I need to realize why I need him.
Exactly.
And once I realize why I need him is whenever things start rolling.
Yes,
you know?
sir.
And from that point on, I've been able to develop who I am. Like we started in like smallest of places. I used to work at chicken houses. Did I know why I was working at chicken houses? Nope. But I was getting money, and I was just like, okay, well, this is that work ethic can transfer to something else. You know, something that's hardworking to now doing something in an office job. What we do, you know, it takes it. I think that through that you're able to gain characteristics of yourself and learn more about yourself and then grow.
Exactly.
So if you're faithful in the time where you're working chicken houses, he definitely will provide you with the resources and the time to lead people now, because that's what we do.
Exactly.
I'm not leading chickens like I was back then. I'm leading people.
Yep.
You know, so that time wasn't wasted, even though it might have seemed like it was wasted. Mm-hmm. But now it's a much bigger thing. And I think that with what we want to do with this podcast and bringing people on is saying that we want other people to have the platform to also do what we're doing.
Yes.
We want people to teach them about God. But also, the big thing too is to let people know that we are human. You know, just because we're Christians doesn't mean everything is sunshine and rainbows, and we have struggles too.
Exactly.
We go through depression, we go through anxiety, all these different things. But the difference is that we now know how to deal with those things in a healthy way, and that's the thing that sets us apart. But we also just want to let people know is that we're Christians, we lead people, but we're not perfect. We struggle sometimes, and I just really want other people to know, like, okay, share your story with us, you know?
Your story matters.
Yeah, because your story matters. And we talk about that all the time, about how we want people. Landin and I are all about people.
Yeah.
Like, as much as energy we give into people, we're just like, we want not to just be their friends, but to lead them and to teach them that, hey, I am doing something that you can also be doing.
Exactly.
So let's do it, you know? And with your heart behind like going to places and speaking, you want to empower people. You want to lead people. And why is that?
Yeah, especially because when you tasted and seen the goodness of God,
you got to share it.
You want other people to know, like, oh my gosh, like on the other side is so much better. Like I'm so passionate. And I'm like, because God loves you and he has something big in store for you. He just like, trust me, give me your life. Let me take it, fully surrender so I can shape you, so I can mold you, so I can transform you, so I can help you do what I've already called you to do, so you can be able to help transform the world. Yeah. And once you've like tasted and seen the goodness of God, you want to share it and you want other people to have it. So that's why I'm so passionate, like trust, like I want you to develop a relationship with the Father, because that like, it is like this fruit. Mm-hmm. And like, there's no going back like, oh, following God is bad. No, it's fruit. Yeah. Like there's truth in it. Like it's real, you know? Yeah. And I'm just so passionate about it, and I want people to know who he is for himself, you know, for people that don't have fathers, for the people that been in some harsh situations where life hasn't been the best. And I know like your pain is real. Pain is real. But also God is real too. And he has a plan for you still, even through the ups and downs, even you feel left behind, that he's like, give me your life. I want it. I want it, you know, so.
I think, so we just talked about it earlier. We were in the office. We have all kinds of conversations, Facts. Bro. It's pretty cool, which is why we wanted to do this. But remember what I said earlier is that purpose takes work.
Oh, it takes work.
But then we also said that purpose is given to us.
Yeah.
Like we have it, but it's not saying that like you have to work towards purpose. No, you have it, but you have to work to see what that purpose is.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Yeah, and I have like even like a situation, like a kind of scenario, an example. It's like you're given like a gift card to like, what's your favorite store, or like for shopping or anything like that?
I like to go to H&M. H&M's got some Target. I'd say Target. Target's pretty dope.
Okay, so let's say you got a Target gift card and it has like maybe $700, $800, maybe let's say $1,000. $1,000, right? And you're buying stuff in the shopping cart. You're going and getting all the stuff that you like from Target. Then you pull up to the register, right? And you got the gift card and everything right there. And the lady or the man who's taking your things and you're scanning them in, she's like, "Oh, your total is like $400. You have $1,000 in there, right? So you're good." So you give it to her, and she swipes it. I was like, "It's not working." And she's like, "Hey, try it again." She swipes, hey, you swipe it again, and it's like,
that's embarrassing.
It's still not, because you have $1,000 in there, right? Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing is like the reason why the card is not working is because it's not activated. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So, and to activate, to activate, you have to call on the number on the back of the number, right? Yeah. And so I put in a scenario where it's like you have, God has given you something given to you, right? And like you have it in your hands, but you're not calling on Him and spending time with Him for Him to use it. Dude. So you have it, but it is like, and that's so many people in this world today where you have purpose, you're given that, and it's just like, I don't know what to do. Well, are you actually calling and activating God and letting Him use it? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good way to put it, man.
Yeah, so you have it.
But it's some of those basic steps that we just kind of miss. Like, yes, you have it in your hand. You just had to do the extra step of activating it. And it's just a simple call. You put in your PIN, whatever, and stuff like that. You just got to activate it. It takes some work. I mean, it's not just like you just sitting around. Like, for us to do what we do now, we had to equip ourselves with knowledge. Because we're going to get questions.
Exactly.
And we're going to get questions about Scripture, about the Bible, about God, about Jesus, all these different things. We have to be ready, okay? We can't just, go out and hope that I'm just going to know everything. You got to be equipped. You got to equip yourself because now you have a responsibility. And not only that, it doesn't just occur in the spiritual area, but also in like your job. Like obviously if you're in customer service at some store, you got to be equipped with the knowledge to answer those questions. But even then, sometimes it's good to go to the next person and ask and find that question. Yeah. Some people can also help you towards your purpose and figuring out what your purpose is. My church helped me out a whole lot with figuring out what my purpose is, and figuring out what my gifts are. My gifts, I'm a teacher, I'm good at teaching. Exhortation. I'm willing to encourage people. Those two go hand in hand. I can teach people and encourage them at the same time. And so with those gifts, I'm able to purpose chase. Yeah. It's just learning about what those gifts are and using those things. Exactly. But we're human, so like the first thing is we want things handed to us, like give it to me right now. Like, man, that's too easy. God wants you to work a little bit for it because He wants you to see what you're capable of doing.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? I think that in this generation, a lot of people just don't know what to do.
Yeah. I think the more you get to know who He is, the more gifts He start to reveal to you. Yeah. So the more you, like you said, the work part, like, okay, work and get to know me more. Get to know me more. Get to know me. And guess what? Oh, you have a gift right here. Oh, I can like, I can teach. I can teach a little bit. And then get to know me more. Get to know me more. Oh man, I'm good at photography too. Yeah. Like, get to know me more. Oh, you can speak in front of thousands of people. Like, He's like, in different seasons, He starts to like reveal more gifts to you. Yeah. But it takes that time, the intentional time to get to know Him more. Yeah. So He can like develop that and shape you and give you those gifts. But like you said, like it's the work. You have to put in that work and being able to get out of your comfort zone and to be able to grow, to be able to grow more and more each day. And biggest thing for me, I don't want to get too complacent. I want to be able to grow and like, God, use me however you want to use me. Let me get uncomfortable so I can be transformed. Yeah. Like the person you're talking to right now is not going to be the same person you talk to when I'm 30.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm changing daily, and that's you're going to change.
Change. And change is not bad.
It's not bad.
Unless you're going the wrong direction with change.
That's
you got to change in the positive way and the healthy way. Here's one thing that we probably like for sure. I know that at some point in time in your life, you're going to ask yourself, and I guarantee you this is for everybody because I think we were created to want to know this question, but it's, what am I doing here? I'm here on this earth. What am I doing here? Some people are going to get to the point where they are just like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but is that it? You know, is that all I'm supposed to be doing?
Is there more?
And so, is there more? That's the big question too. Is that some people are going to ask, is there more? What am I doing? And that's when that question sparks of, I have a purpose. What is purpose? And I think that now in this generation, a lot of people are starting to realize that there is something more to life than just TikTok and dancing and working and partying. There's more, because as much as they want to give in to those things weekly, like going to parties or doing this certain thing every day or every so often, it's not fulfilling.
It's not.
Purpose is fulfilling. That's the big thing, is that when we are encouraging and leading people and creating disciples and creating other leaders, it's fulfilling.
You see the fruit of it.
You see the fruit of it.
See the fruit of it.
And because it's fulfilling, then you know that this is what God has called me to do, because it's fulfilling.
And it's all worth it.
It's all worth it. Take some work.
Work.
It's all worth it. Another thing I told you earlier was purpose is not me-centered, but it's people-centered.
That's a word.
Yes. It's not me-centered, it's people-centered, because God wouldn't give us a purpose where it's just all about me. No, God says, hey, I'm giving you a purpose to serve the kingdom.
Yeah.
To lead the kingdom. To lead people to the kingdom, you know? But a lot of people, again, they think purpose is for me. No.
It's not.
It's not.
Especially with this like college students age. Like that's why I love college students, because you're at a place where you don't have mom and daddy with you.
There you go.
You know, so you really now you get to find out who you really are and why am I doing something? Because throughout high school and elementary and middle school years, you've been told, do this.
You had your parents
do it. Do this. You don't know why you're doing it. You're just doing it. Go to college. Okay, I'll go to college.
You figuring it out.
Yeah, now you're figuring out. Now you're going through some trials.
Yeah.
Some hard battles, some tough times. And now it's like, who am I? Why am I doing this? Like, why am I going to party? Like, have you even asked yourself, like, why are you doing this thing?
Yeah.
Why do I hang out with this friend group? Why do I want to go to college?
Bunch of whys everywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
So it's like when you come to realization, like, what am I called here to do? And you get to self-reflect, like, is there more? Is there a specific purpose I'm supposed to be doing? And it's like, yes, you have called here for a reason. And the fact that you're breathing right now, that God's not done with you and he has not given up on you yet. So if you're still breathing, that means you still have purpose. So anybody watching, if you're still breathing, you have purpose.
Yeah.
And God is not done with you. You may have made a whole bunch of mistakes. You may have had some tough times and hard times being disrespectful to parents, or you may have said some of the wildest things on earth. But God is like, I forgive you and I want you in my kingdom. How loving is that?
Man, that whenever I think of that, dude, whenever I first thought of that, and even now, it blows my mind that I can still be used. You know, I'm still breathing. There's a reason why I'm here. To the day that I stop breathing, that's when it's done. Whatever God had assigned me to do, it's done. You know, I fulfilled my purpose. But it's really neat to know that we are being used, and that these. That us as like young adults and all these different things, in college, you're at a pivotal moment where you are discovering who you are and why you're here. And like you said, we were college students. At one point, we were making our own decisions, who we hang out with, what we eat, whether we go to class or not, where we work, all the friends and stuff like that. Like, we made up all that. Mom and dad were not really in the picture a whole lot because we are on our own. And even if they were, you could still go out and do whatever you wanted without telling them.
Exactly.
So at that point, you're in charge. And so once we got some students graduating here pretty soon.
Yeah, Saturday.
Now they're going to the point where I'm in charge of my life. What am I going to do?
Boom.
Yeah, it just hits them like that.
Boom.
What am I going to do? And if these students do not get a grasp of who they are, and we put them out and they're put out into the world, man, that world could take you in, chew you up, and spit you right back out, man. Because the world ain't going to wait for nobody.
And we're like, have a privilege of being on a Christian campus where we do have chapel. where we do have people talking about Jesus, where we do have professors like telling their faith and what God has done in their life and to pour on us. But when you get out, I feel like ETB is a little bubble because we're the Christian bubble, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But when you get out of that bubble,
dude, that's the real world.
Yeah, that's when it's like, it's work.
Yeah.
It's work. You have to find that local church. You have to find that community. You have to find those group of friends that are going to encourage you and challenge you and to lead you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't think we realize, like, I know, that's why I said, like, college students, you're such at a special moment right here. I want to be able to pour into you as much as possible before you go into that real world where it's work.
Yeah. It's because, again, you deal with all kinds of people, you deal with all kinds of circumstances. And if you don't have healthy people in your corner, or if you don't have a certain set of a belief system or principles or boundaries, man, it's you're going to start to fall into a lot of deep stuff that you probably don't want to, and that is not healthy.
Exactly.
And so it's good to always have these boundaries set. Like, I don't just go hang out with anybody. I go hang out with people that I think are healthy in their life, and they can also add a little bit of healthy aspects to my life. If I see somebody's and trying to invite me to a club, and I know I don't go clubbing, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to hang out with you because I don't go clubbing.
Exactly.
That's not what I do. Why do I not go clubbing? Well, because me personally.
Your values. Me personally. Your principle.
Yeah. One of my boundaries is I don't think it's a safe spot for me. I don't like being around alcohol. I don't like being around crazy people sometimes.
Exactly.
And it's just a bad spot for me personally. That's not for everybody.
Exactly.
But if I set those boundaries, I'm able to determine what's healthy in my life and what isn't. And also, I like to think of it as is it helping my purpose at some points? So like me hanging out with you, I would say it's helping my purpose because you're one of those guys that I know would pray for me, that would give me advice, healthy advice, that would help me to stay accountable to things, because judgment and accountability is different.
Yeah.
Judgment is saying you did something bad, but accountability is saying, hey, this happened, but I can help you, or we can keep you on track.
Exactly.
And that's what we need more of. And so that's where you set the boundaries, and setting those boundaries are life-saving.
Especially with the accountability. I think, like we said, like, it's about growth.
Yeah.
Or you want to be able to grow more and more each day. So you need those group of people, group of guys to pour into you, to pray for you, because we're going in the world where it's hard, where it's tough. It's not going to be, I say like peaches and cream. It's not going to be like, right? But it's going to be tough and challenging. You're going to need a group of people, a circle of faith that's going to pray for you, that's going to love on you, that's going to, when you're crying and when you're like going through a hard time, that they say, no, you're going to get through this. But also you need those people that's going to be like, challenge you to go to a higher level.
Yeah.
Hey, we've been on this baby food for a while.
Yeah.
Let's get some real food now. Let's get some crackers. Let's get some going, like, some steak.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Some big food. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So it's levels to this. Right now I feel like I'm in a season where it's cool, but I'm ready to grow some more.
Yeah.
I don't want to stay the same.
This is the next step.
It's the next step.
This is the next step.
Exactly.
For people to hear your heart, for people to know who you are and see like, hey, I'm tired of just doing what I've done here for a while. It's been great. But the next level's coming, And I think when you're purpose chasing too, it's okay to realize that sometimes you're frustrated with something or you're going through something. And it's important to know that that's whenever you need people, We're human beings. We're not supernatural. Like we don't just go and get over any topic just real easily. Like, dude, I get angry sometimes.
Exactly.
But I can't become an angry person because that's a waste of my time. It's a waste of effort. And I will not continue to move on from where I'm at. I'm always going to stay at that level of anger unless I forgive somebody or I do something. So like that's the part of purpose chasing that takes the work. Okay. You can't continue to purpose chase if you're holding on to unforgiveness sometimes, because that one person that you are not forgiving of, you're not going to be able to reach that person.
Exactly.
And
I think it also affects your growing too. Like you can't grow to the fullness of what God wants you to be with something inside your heart where it's forgetting. It's like, I'm trying to get you another level, but right now you need to forgive this person.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, I can't level you up right now just because you haven't done this part of heart surgery that needs you to work on,
Yeah, and that's the pivotal point of also. First, let's realize that everybody's a leader, and we talk about this, Landin. Everybody's a leader. If you have influence, you have leadership within you, and I've learned that from some very wise people myself. If you have influence, you have leadership, because that's what leadership is influence somebody. But it takes sometimes some push to get those leadership qualities out of you, because we've met. We did the RA interest meeting, resident assistant meeting here on campus, and I asked those people. I said, "How many of y'all see yourselves as leaders?" You had some raise their hands, and some kind of didn't, and then some didn't raise it at all. And I told them, I said, everybody should be raising their hand, because all you guys have influence. If you have influence, you have leadership. Now it's how you use that influence that makes you a leader. Mm-hmm. If you have influence, you're using it in the wrong way, bro, you is a bad leader.
You're a bad leader, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you need to always be on the swivel, like noticing that while you're purpose chasing, you're becoming a leader. You're developing these leadership qualities, and you're cultivating all these gifts and things that God has given you to use it for the purpose, which is not me-centered, it's people-centered. Exactly. Know? And so one thing that we kind of always talk about is, first, build a relationship with people. Relationships are big. Me and you couldn't do something like this right now if we didn't have a relationship. If I just came up to you like, Landin, let's do a podcast, you'd probably be like, I don't know you, bro.
Yeah, facts.
I really don't know you.
I don't know.
And you were a big advocate for relationships. And why is that?
I'm a big advocate because like in this world, you're gonna have to deal with people. Mm-hmm. Like
regardless where you're at.
In your job, your family, your romantic relationships, you're dealing with people. And we're all broken. Mm-hmm. So think about it, that if you're dealing with people every day of your life, you need to develop a good relationship, with each other, and find ways where I can use this person's strength to get to their strength or their leadership skills, and being able to adapt to see what works and what doesn't. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, because I think God intended us for relationships to be in a good way and in a healthy way. Yeah. So I want to get back to relationships in a healthy way, whether like in our atmosphere as being RDs, making sure we're on the same page, communicating with each other, seeing what works, what can we improve on. Mm-hmm. Let's grow. Yeah, let's not be in the same mindset. So I want to be everywhere I go, whether it's in the job or whether it's in my spiritual life or whether that's me speaking somewhere. I want to be able to grow more, to help to grow more, and not just get in that to get complacent or to get comfortable. Just going through the motions. Yeah. I want to be able to use my fullest potential in what God has already called me to do. Yeah. So I think that's why I'm so big on relationships with people, and God put people in our lives to love them, to care for them, to see them, but also we can do this in a healthy way. Yeah. Imagine if we were in a world with just me and you, nobody else around. It'd be tough. That'd be tough. It'd be boring, and not only that, I just couldn't see us doing much. Exactly. So I think that God knew what he was doing whenever he put people here, And so now we have lots of issues that people go through and people kind of face, and all these different things that have altered the way that they have their perspective towards life. And I think that we need to help them realize that you weren't created to stay depressed. You weren't created to just be angry all the time, because that's exhausting. So let's teach them how to live life a healthy way, and abundantly, Also, when it comes to purpose chasing, it takes a lot of faith, man, because there's times where you will just be brought down. Like, it'll be tough for you on some days to purpose chase, to lead people, to create other leaders, man, because you encounter so many people. Some days you yourself will be drained. Other days, somebody might just completely diss you and say, I don't want to talk to you. I don't care what you have to say, all these different things. But a lot of it is saying that I have faith that one thing that I said to that one person will stick. Or I have faith that God is going to get me through this season, and he will equip me as a leader. Whether it's personally for you or for somebody else. Yeah. Takes a lot of faith to be purpose chasing, I don't know what you think about that, but because it takes a lot of faith to do something that you never seen done before. Oh yeah. But I think for me personally, like there's levels of faith too. I think as we grow in a relationship with Christ, there's different steps of faith that he wants us to take. And for me personally, like I've seen God do some miraculous things, some great things. And my faith increases because I'm getting to know who he, like, this is the God, like he's really who he says he is. Like basically he is that guy. He is this dude. Like I am who I say I am, and I'm standing on it. And I can fully trust on that. And so when God gives me a word or he tells me to do something, I'm like, I have the full confidence in the faith where it's like, hey, God, I don't know, it may look ugly, it may be like this, but you've called me. That's all that matters. Like you told me to do this. It may look different from the world or what they say, but you told me to do this. And I'm going to stand firm on that just because you told me to. But I'm not saying it's hard days. Sometimes I don't feel like talking to people or different things like that. And I need to fill my cup up with Jesus. And there's some, you're going to have your different seasons. But I think God does tell us to take a leap of faith to do something that we never seen done before.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you haven't seen it, they're like, oh, you can't do it. No, he's called you to do something crazy. Big.
So right now what I'm trying to look for, I can't, speaking about like just faith in general, I'm trying to look up here on scripture, trying to see, there's a specific story at time. I don't want to mislead you guys, but I want to say it's probably in Mark, but I'm not 100% sure. It's talking about the woman who had a serious sickness that lasted for a good couple of years. And that woman was wanting healing. And this is the time where Jesus was passing from town to town. And he was healing people. He was talking to people. This specific story, the woman was trying to get a hold of Jesus and see if she could be healed from this sickness. But there were so many people around Jesus that she just couldn't, she didn't have time to really even talk to him. But the one thing that she did was all she wanted to do was touch Jesus. She's like, if only I could just touch Jesus, then I will be healed. And all she had to do was get through the crowd, touch Jesus, and she would be healed. And so she goes through the crowd, and she's taking the time to make her way through. All she did was touch Jesus, and that's it. And then at one point Jesus stops, and he's wondering who touched me.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And the lady, I think she acknowledges that she was touched. She touched him, and he said, by your faith alone, you're healed. Ooh. And it's just like the only thing that it took, not Jesus laying hands on her and saying, hey, like praying over her, laying hands, speaking this sickness to come out from her body. But literally all it took for her to be healed was the faith that she had towards that situation that she was going through. That's all it took. It just took her saying, like, if only I could just touch and reach Jesus, he can heal me from this sickness. I just got to touch him, barely, a little bit, touch his robe, whatever. If I touch him, then I'll be healed. And Jesus said, by your faith alone, you're healed. That to me is just like faith is a strong weapon.
It's an aspect. Yep.
It takes you have to have lots of faith when it comes to your circumstances, purpose chasing, all these different things. Because not everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Exactly.
It's going to take some faith to get to where you're at. But if you have faith and you're praying to God that I want this to happen, this and that, faith is all it takes sometimes. You do the work, you put the faith, let God do the rest.
And the one thing I like about that woman is that she didn't know that she was gonna be like healed, but she believed.
She didn't know.
She was like, but I believe that if I touch him, then I would be healed.
Imagine just doing something like that and just like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna go for it.
I'm gonna go for it. And that's just encouragement to us too, like to do something that we think God has called us to do and believe for it. Believe like God will heal my mother.
Yeah.
But this person will come to Christ. Yeah. And having that faith in this, and to believe in that, and to say like this is going to happen.
That's another level.
It's another level.
It's like you said, it's another level of faith.
And even when I don't see it, like even when the cancer and the results say you're not going to live, you got 3 months to live, and say no, I'm still alive and I'm still breathing. I'm going to live out. I'm going to live 10 more years, and to still have that belief. Regardless. And I think about even from Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when they was in the fire.
Bro, you say you throwing me in a fire. Hey, I'm dipping.
I'm out,
okay,
bro.
That's crazy.
Like I'm out. I'm done.
You're finna throw me in a pit of fire. Like, bro, I'm
if I don't bow down, you want me to? I would, you know,
I'm
what I
finna
mean?
die.
You know that it takes some faith to like stand strong. Like, and one thing about them, they said even if I die, I'm still not bowing down. And the fact that's another level too. Like even if it doesn't turn out how I want it to turn out, I would still trust that He will save me. Dude. I would still trust me that He's my refuge. I would still trust me that He's my protector, my healer, my redeemer. I still trust because I know who He is. Regardless of what happens, I believe it. And even if it doesn't happen, I'm still not gonna bow down.
For sure.
That's some faith.
And,
I'm like,
man, and that within itself tells so many stories. But it shows that they didn't bow down to. They knew their principles, they knew their values, their morals, everything. They're like, I don't bow to anybody but God Himself. So you know what? Throw me in the fire.
Throw me in the fire.
Cause I'm not finna do what you tell me to do.
Exactly.
I know what's right, and I know who I serve, and it's not what you think. That to me, like, it takes a lot of faith. If you were to tell me you finna throw me in a pit of fire because I'm not doing something you said, bro, I'm like, oh man, it'd be tough.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a hard conflict between me and myself because it's just like, okay, in this world, people can tell you to sacrifice your values for whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And you could easily lay down your cross and go the opposite way. But that's not what you were created to do. You were created to succeed.
Exactly.
And God wouldn't leave you in the middle of the desert unequipped. He wouldn't put you somewhere if He knew you couldn't do it. And so wherever God has you right now, you're there for a reason. But just know that if it seems like it's out of your league, nope. He's got you equipped. You just got to figure it out.
Exactly.
We got to figure it out. He wouldn't put you in that place. One thing I always tell people too is that God didn't create an unfinished product.
Yeah.
He didn't create Landin unfinished. And then He sent you out in the world. Because then there's still defects or there's still mistakes or stuff that's within you if you weren't finished.
Yeah.
It's like an iPhone. Apple does not send out a defective iPhone to anybody. Their intentions are to have it finished, have it checked out by several people before it's sent out. Why? Because you do not send an unfinished product for it to be used. Mm-hmm. You send a finished product. And once that finished product is out there, it is designed to do what it was designed to do. So now it's out there. A cell phone, it's serving its purpose of being used to communicate. Mm-hmm. We serve a purpose, and we are being used by God, but He wouldn't send us unfinished or unequipped. So sometimes we just got to figure it out, and we gotta realize that, okay, I feel like right now I'm not equipped, but maybe I am, and I need to grow confidence, or maybe I do need to seek out help in this specific thing. This entire podcast right here, as much as spiritual we want to get, we want you to know that we're human too.
Facts.
And so we struggle just as everybody else does. But our source is Scripture and God Himself. We don't go a day without it. It's like saying you going to work. I'm trying to think of somewhere that they use something handy.
Lowe's? Handy? What you mean?
It's like saying you go to work somewhere at Lowe's.
Okay, yeah.
And they ain't got no forklift for you to unload and load stuff back on there. You're not equipped. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I forgot where I was going with that.
But I understand because with the God put us in this earth, but also He's given us something special. He given the Holy Spirit inside of us.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we have a helper, an advocate for that. When we are weak, we can call on His name, and He can come help us and be that comforter and be that helper. And that's why He's our helper. So when we're going through some tough times and don't feel equipped, that we can call on His name, where He's able to.
There you go.
Be able to lift us up. So just like us lifting some. Let's say I'm working out, and I got like maybe 245, maybe like 250 on the bench press, and I'm lifting the bench press up, and I'm like, I can't do it. It's just too heavy. And the Holy Spirit is like, I can, and lifts it up. So it's just like even through the tough times when we feel like, I can't go the extra mile, I can't go the extra step. Call on the Holy Spirit. He's like, I'm going to take over that, and that we can still rely on His presence.
For sure.
So that's what I like about God is He didn't send us by Himself. He's like, I'm going to leave you with somebody for that you need. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Jesus might have been, he's like, but I'm going to leave you with the Holy Spirit here on earth.
And that's a tool. It's a resource. And so now you use it.
Exactly.
You're not gonna, it's like if somebody were to give you something to help you, why wouldn't you use it?
Exactly.
So use it, you know. The purpose of this podcast, man, is for us is to be able to teach people in a healthy way, but also be real humans with you guys, and to know that, hey, we're spiritual. We follow God. We follow Jesus. We know a lot about that area, but that doesn't mean we're perfect. We are far from perfect. We're humans. And we're going to teach you about our mistakes. Other people are going to teach you about mistakes. And the beauty of it is that through those mistakes, we are able to be different. You know, we don't want to be the same. And also teach you that you can purpose chase and still have mistakes and still make mistakes, but you can overcome those mistakes. You could do better.
Exactly.
You can learn, because that's what life is. It's a learning curve, thing. Man. You're learning. Your times are changing daily.
Daily.
So you're having to learn a whole lot. We're here. Landin and I's heart is to have people here to speak to everybody. For me, it's like I want this platform to multiply leaders and to send them out. They start as followers.
Yeah.
Some of y'all might be following right now, and it's just you're just following. But I'm not here to keep you, but to have you for this short season and release you, and to then say, okay, you're a leader. Let's start doing the practical.
Let's keep doing it.
Yeah, let's keep doing it. So, anything else you want to add, Landin, at all?
Man, I'm just thankful, man. Thankful for the opportunity just to like do this. Like Arnold came in and said, "Landin, we're about to get started." Like he was a man to his word, and he actually was like, "We're gonna get started about it." I didn't know. I was just like, I was saying some of the stuff. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it." But he like each day brought the equipment in, got us here and prepared us. And I think it's something special. And he truly has a passion and a heart for Christ, but also for people, and to shape them and to know that they are leaders. Yeah. And that just shows, your character of who you are. So I'm excited for what God is about to do. And I want people to have a voice, to know that they matter, to know that they're loved, to know that they're seen, to know that they're chosen, and that God is not done with them yet. And matter of fact, he's probably just getting started.
There we go.
Yeah, no eye has seen, no ear has heard. God has so many big things for us in store, and we can't even picture it or like see it. But it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I want to thank Landin for joining me. Landin's going to be helping me as this time goes by. He's going to help me see who we could bring on the podcast. But also, Landin's my accountability partner now, because if it wasn't for Landin bringing up the idea and then keep talking about it and saying when we're going to start it, I would have never got there, So Landin was a big help, and it's important to know that, like, that's why accountability is big, because you can have an idea, but it never comes to life.
Exactly.
It's just an idea.
It's
not a goal. We were setting down stuff, and later on we were like, okay, let's get it done. Little by little, I was bringing equipment in here and there, and then Landin's like, you serious about this?
He's serious about it, yeah.
Serious about it. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, you're pushing me a lot, so let's get this thing rolling. So again, we can't wait to see where this place goes, where this ends up going. We can't wait to continue to have people on this platform. And just know that this isn't for us, but this is for people. This is people-centered, not for us. Because to me, it doesn't matter if I get one follower or I get 100,000.
Exactly.
It just takes that one. And that's what our hearts are, is it just takes that one to listen and to be changed by it, But thank you guys for joining us. We hope to continue to bring y'all stuff, and bless all you guys. And just know that you guys matter. Yeah. And, hey, continue to roll with us, and we're gonna keep putting out a bunch of stuff. Landin, you want to say anything to anybody before
man. Purpose chase. We're gonna continue to seek God and do what He's called us to do. I know 2023 is gonna be a big year. Be ready. Be prepared. For the people that want to be on this podcast, we want you in there. Yeah. We want to hear your voice. We want to see you. Hey, and we're gonna invite you, and we want to know who you are in Christ too. So I'm excited, and I love y'all. I love y'all all.
Much love to you guys. Hey, y'all, peace out. Y'all take it easy, man.